All right, they shut down your government while funding transgender programs in the Balkans. And while American families can't visit national museums, Democrats are demanding $24 million for Honduras climate programs. All this while food stamp recipients worry about running out of money. And they want millions for feminist organizing in Africa. This isn't about budget negotiations, it's about priorities. And their priorities, they're crystal clear. Illegal immigrants over citizens, foreign countries over America, and radical ideology over basic services. The most revealing part of this whole thing? They're doing this during Trump's greatest foreign policy triumph. They can't stand his success, so they're punishing you. Watch what I'm about to show you. As many investors have seen recently, exploration companies are looking south. With U.S. policy becoming friendlier towards domestic supply of critical metals, U.S. copper prices have soared after recent threats of a 50% import tariff, highlighting the value of domestic sources. And could District Copper Corp be lining up that kind of role? The company recently secured a U.S. market listing, and that move alone points to a bigger vision ahead. And District Copper is advancing its copper projects, positioning itself as a gateway for supplying the copper that powers U.S. infrastructure, clean energy, and advanced technology. With copper hitting a 16-month high, rousing supply demands, and growing uncertainty due to the potential closure of one of the world's largest copper mines in Indonesia, domestic production is more important than ever. Against this backdrop, and with a new U.S. listing, District Copper Corp could be setting the stage for further growth and potential expansion into key U.S. states renowned for strategic minerals. The company is building its future around one of the most essential metals of our time, positioning itself for what comes next. Check them out in the link in the description, and thank you to District Copper Corp for making today's video possible. So CNN just exposed Hakeem Jeffries, dollar store Obama's pathetic excuse for the shutdown. And watch him squirm when he's called out for refusing to walk down the hall to negotiate. Check this out.
Meetings, no discussions. Donald Trump has held them back from even having a meaningful engagement to try to find
You're
common
right down
ground.
the hall from Mike Johnson's office. I know exactly where you are. You could probably take a few steps and go knock on the door and talk to him. Have you tried that?
Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission to have a conversation with me or Leader Schumer, and he said as much earlier today.
So you don't think he would talk to you at all?
We can have a conversation, but the problem is that until they get the green light to actually have a meaningful discussion to try to find common ground and a bipartisan path forward and a willingness to address the damage that Republicans have done to the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people, then of course any informal discussion is going to be not fruitful.
So Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission? Like, permission from who? He's the Speaker of the House. And this is what Democrat leadership looks like, paralyzed by the radical base. And Democrat Representative Madeleine Dean is outraged that Trump's keeping our troops paid during the shutdown. Like, it's insane. Listen to her utter insanity. Watch.
How do you feel about these paychecks going out during the shutdown? I don't think anyone's opposed to people being paid, but people look at this.
Okay, before she gets into it, she looks like the final boss of Karens. All she needs is like the poofy hair and like a poodle or something, and it'll be perfect. It's going to be just anticipate the voice. Watch.
This could actually extend the shutdown because it takes out some of the pressure points that might exist that would lead Democrats and Republicans to come together.
Oh, you know what? Of course I want our military paid. Of course I want federal law enforcement officers to be paid. There's a way to do that. I'm an appropriator. We should have passed appropriations bills. There's a way to run a government, and this is not the way to run a government.
Yeah, just vote for the bill then. This is not the way you run the government, she said. She's angry that military families aren't going to suffer. Think about that. She wants troops to miss paychecks to create pressure. And Speaker Johnson just exposed the Democrats' insane demands. This list is going to blow your mind. This is what they're shutting down the government for. Take a look.
And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would.
I will say, if they're sending money to news corporations, just buy a couple memberships for the people in the chat, guys. If they're handing money out like that.
Also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on the CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa, and $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that.
I mean, $24 million for Honduras climate. Aren't like climate resilience? Aren't they like a jungle out there? I don't know. $13 million for Zimbabwe's civic engagement. $4 million for the alphabet soup TQ stuff. Democracy in the Balkans. $3 million for like desert locusts. Your government is closed so they can fund feminist organizations in Africa. Steve Scalise just exposed a real reason Schumer's keeping the government shut. It's not about budget negotiations. It's about appeasing the radical mob planning this weekend's protest. Take a look.
Even during a time where the contrast of Chuck Schumer throwing a temper tantrum here at home just to appease the most radical elements of his base, so that on the 18th, when they have the Hate America rally that everybody knows is coming, and that everybody knows Chuck Schumer needs to deliver a shutdown government to them to appease them. Well, how about you think about us? How about you think about those families?
So he said Chuck Schumer needs to deliver a shutdown government to appease them. There it is. Plain as day. The shutdown isn't about policy. It's payment to the Hate America crowd gathering on the 18th. Schumer's holding American families hostage to please the radicals. And Democrats unveiled their new strategy, scare Republicans by threatening to fire more federal bureaucrats. And watch this theatrical performance. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, every authoritarian leader has had his grim reaper. Russell Vogt is Donald Trump's grim reaper. Trump even posted a bizarre video describing Vogt in those terms. That's who he wanted, a grim reaper. Grim is defined in the dictionary as sinister, savage, and ferocious. A trauma causer. Reaper is defined that which is used to cut down. Vogt swings his scythe through the federal government as thoughtlessly and dangerously as Elon Musk and the Doge children did with their chainsaws. The effect, sadly, has been the same. Great damage to the government, the American people, and the morale, psychological well-being, and efficiency of the patriotic American workers we call federal workers who serve them.
Russell Vought is Trump's grim reaper. They're terrified that someone might actually cut government waste. Good. Every patriotic Americans should celebrate fewer bureaucrats. And Secretary Burgum drops truth bombs about what this shutdown really means for America while China races ahead in AI development. Watch.
Well, yes, and maybe Schumer and the Democrats haven't noticed, but China isn't taking the month off. They have not shut down their government. We're in an AI arms race. You've had a number of folks on today, as you should, because one of the biggest things in the market is this incredible amount of spending that's going on CapEx for us to help win the AI arms race with China. We need to have that private sector spending, investing in power generation, in chips, and in AI factories. All of that has to happen.
They need to focus on the power generating part because our energy prices are going through the roof. If I could say one thing to Secretary Burgum is that make more power plants. We're tired of paying more money for the same energy. Let me know in the comments if you agree.
And all of that, again, we're fighting everything we can do with the people that we're working through the National Energy Dominance Council to keep permitting going, to keep these deals going, to keep that spending going. We have to. But again, it's like the Democrats are hurting us on the world stage, and they're hurting us at home economically with this shutdown.
So let's get this part clear, guys. China is not shutting down. They're not taking a month off from the AI arms race, and Democrats are sabotaging American competitiveness to protect their radical agenda. And real Americans are suffering. Food stamp and recipients in Arizona face empty carts if Democrats don't stop their games. Watch.
bad news for the 1 million people getting food stamps here in Arizona. A new report from Axios says the federal program will run out of money if the D.C. standoff rolls into next month. That means tens of thousands cutting back on meals and other vital expenses to make their money last until the government is up and running again.
So 1 million Arizonans on food stamps will run out of money. Tens of thousands cutting meals. All because Democrats want to fund foreign gender programs? Oh, I guess that makes sense. And the Smithsonian museums and the National Zoo, yeah, they're closed. Watch families turned away from institutions that their tax dollars are paying for. Watch.
Big disappointment for folks visiting Washington. A lot of people hit town. They want to go to the National Zoo. They want to go to the Smithsonian museums. But you can see the sign we have here on the front gate. It says all Smithsonian museums and the National Zoo are closed. That, of course, because of the government shutdown. Now,
they should send their hotel bills and their airline tickets over to Chuck Schumer's office so they can be reimbursed for their expenses on their trips.
Smithsonians were able to stay open longer than some other things around town because they had previous year funds left over. However, that money has now run out, so the zoo and the museums are closed for the remainder of the shutdown. Now, what does this mean for the animals? Don't worry, the keepers will continue to feed and care for the animals behind the scenes. The zoo itself, though, to visitors closed. Now, those live stream animal cameras, including the popular Panda Cam, they are no longer on either. They're not broadcasting because they require federal resources to operate. What about special events? If the shutdown drags on, things like Boo at the Zoo and yoga with the Siamangs at Gibbon Ridge, those events will be canceled. Now, you can get a refund or you can convert your ticket costs into a donation to animal conservation programs. But those events, if this drags on, will not happen. So a big disappointment for a lot of people. You hit Washington, you want to see the sights, and these are big ones.
You know who I'm disappointed in? I'm disappointed in the Democrats who shut down the government for the locusts and the alphabet soup stuff instead of letting families go to the places we pay for anyways. The Panda Cam is off. Special events are canceled. But hey, you know, Zimbabwe gets their civil engagement funding or whatever the heck it is. This is the Democrat Party's priority just laid bare. They'll shut down services for American citizens to fund radical programs overseas. They'll make military families worry about paychecks to score political points. And they're going to close our museums while sending billions of dollars to liberal news outlets through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. So if you got value from this report, please tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is economic warfare against the American people. Democrats shut down your government to protect illegal immigrant health care while your families can't visit the Smithsonian. They demand millions of dollars for transgender programs in foreign countries while food stamp recipients wonder how they'll eat next month. And $24 million for Honduras climate schemes while American veterans wait in line at closed federal offices. The timing is not coincidental. Trump just brokered the historic peace in the Middle East, and Democrats can't stand the success. So they're going to punish, guess who? You guys. They hold military paychecks hostage. They close national parks, and they threaten food assistance for people who desperately need it. All to fund desert locust research in Africa and feminist organizing overseas. And let's not forget the insurance for the illegal immigrants. So here's my question. Should foreign aid be completely banned until every American government service is fully funded? Let me know yes or no in the comments. And never forget that this is your money funding the radical agenda while you suffer. And remember this betrayal. And don't forget to check out our merch shop and show them we will never forget.